Hit me!
Episode 305.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. Welcome. Another edition of NetHeads. It's Will. Sans Trent today. People got lives. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. However it is you partake. Really appreciate it. If you want to take part in the program, you can. One of many ways is Twitter via the hashtag NetHeads. If you are listening to this or watching it or anything else, it's after the fact. So no live interaction. But if you want to reach out to us anyway via Skype, you might be able to via NetHeads on Air via Skype. Leave us a message there. Or just go ahead and send us a message, netheadsonair@gmail.com. Just that simple. Anyway, I want to thank everyone again for tuning in. This is just a quickie, one of those little microcasts I've kept threatening about doing just because I'm about to go out of town. Trent hasn't been available. I haven't been available. I've been sick. I've been busy. As I said, people have lives. But I really just wanted to get something laid down. I wanted to drop some tracks, if you will, before I get going. So without further ado, let's just get into it, shall we? One of the things I wanted to do, since it's been a while since we've come together last, I figured be a good time to go ahead and hit all of the things that we haven't discussed. A little segment I call Oops, We Missed It. That's right. While we have been gone, some of the big news that kind of happened, I don't want to say in tech, but let's face it. The title of this one is Disney Plus to me because Disney Plus has launched. And one of the big bits of news that came down the pike during us not being available is the fact that Disney Plus did finally work out a deal with Amazon, and they are going to be available. Well, they are available. It launched last Tuesday on Fire TV. So all of your Amazon products, the very hub of my streaming media solution here in the home, so that it could be available on all of the televisions in the home via the Fire TV came to fruition. Disney realized, let's not cut off our nose to spite our face, or I think they had some type of disagreement about, or they needed to come to terms in regards to advertising somehow. I don't know what it was, and I don't even know the details, and it really doesn't matter because well after the fact, but I was very pleased and very thankful for the fact that the Disney Plus was available on Fire TV for launch. As a matter of fact, I believe, who was it? Was it Simon Fisher? Told us that via Twitter, possibly. Could have been one of them. One of our listeners, more than likely Simon Fisher, but it could have been somebody else, and I apologize if I'm giving the wrong credit. But that was great news to hear, so I'm so thankful that on launch day I was able to go ahead and take my Fire TV, fire it up, and get a disconnect notice. That's right. Well, not a disconnect notice, just a we can't connect notice. You may want to be able to watch Disney Plus, but sorry, too many people want to use it, and we can't cope, is what is the impression that I got. And not necessarily saying that is actually what happened. I don't know what the supply or demand issue was. I don't know what it was that was bringing the service down, other than the fact that I'm sure it was just a ton of people accessing it all at once, because that's what usually brings these things down. But I too got the same type of notification. When I first went to fire it up, wouldn't load just about anything. I had to restart the app, and then I was able to hear the Mandalorian, and then finally restart the app, and I was able to see the Mandalorian. Found the area to go ahead and create profiles, and weren't able to choose a custom avatar for the profiles, at least not on the first day. I know by day 3 or 4, we were able to, and we were able to go ahead and pick whatever avatar we wanted from the readily available pre-selected ones from Star Wars or Disney or Pixar or what's some of the other ones? I think National Geographic, maybe. I don't remember now. I just know that I went through, and 3 out of 4 family members went with The Incredibles. I've since changed mine to Sully from Monsters, Inc. Not that anyone asked, but I will admit that it was a bit of a shock in getting the notice that sorry, we can't connect. But at the same time, it made me feel good because I knew that there were going to be a bunch of other people that are accessing the service just the way I am, or more to the point, not accessing the service just the way I am. And I do know that during the launch time, let's see now, what do we do? We checked out Steamboat Willie. I watched that. Also checked out the Disney Plus original movie Noelle with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. Their off-Raven Christmas movie because, folks, as of I think, I could be wrong. I'm just going to guess somewhere around November 5th or November 7th of this month, my daughter already started decorating the house for Christmas. It's her favorite season. And to be honest, considering it's a multi-day affair to decorate the inside of the house when you take into consideration the Christmas tree and everything else, I'm not gonna crap on it because honestly speaking, that's a lot of work. And the house really does look a lot better when the decorating season happens for Christmas because we have my wife has a massive snowman collection, which helps fill in this cutout on our stairways. The banisters for our stairways get covered in lit garland, which is both nice to look at while at the same time it's completely functional because when you're going to bed you can turn off all the lights and you still have a lit path going upstairs. The what is that thing called above the fireplace? The fireplace mantle, looks very pretty and green, has positive messages, and we've got this special wreath that hangs in front of the mirror that's lit, and it's oh so pretty, and you know, red and green is very nice and soothing anyway. So I'm not gonna shoot anyone down for decorating too early. But that's not what this is about. We're here to talk about Disney Plus, right? So did check out Noelle, which it was okay. Not gonna lie. 3 out of 4 family members kind of got disengaged with it, and I did see it to the end. Not that I'm here to critique that film, but is it going to be a Christmas classic? Not so much. But it did have Billy Eichner in it too, so that was something that I thought would be a stronger point. I thought if you're going to have a Billy Eichner in your show, in your movie, that's something you're going to be able to play up. It's a crutch you're going to be able to lean on, and honestly, felt he was kind of underutilized. But when it all comes down to it, folks, the one thing that I know that a lot of us flooded our way over to Disney Plus for was The Mandalorian, the first live action Star Wars TV show, only available on Disney Plus. And after seeing the first episode, had a lot of questions. Thankfully, new episodes come out Fridays. So we didn't have to wait long since it premiered or Disney Plus dropped on a Tuesday. And I liked what I saw. But I do have to make a comment here. I'm a little shocked in our binging society. And I don't know if it's because Disney Plus wants to milk it, or they want to help build hype, or they just want to adhere to the TV model. They want to keep us coming back. I don't know if there's some metric that's important for viewership being consistent across the board, because as it stands, you're just going to see a spike every Friday. But I was a little disappointed that all the episodes aren't dropping at once. We have, through Netflix, some Hulu shows and the like, we've gotten into a point in our culture where we are spoiled and we get everything at once and we can watch it all at once. You know, Stranger Things dropped and I wrote off like 8 or 9 hours of my life or whatever it was, and I watched all of Stranger Things. Or if you decide you're suddenly going to get into American Horror Story and you got the Hulu, you could sit down and watch so many seasons of American Horror Story, all available there for you. So I'm a little shocked that they are working under the weekly release model, but I guess that is a good way to help contain and sustain hype. Not that they needed to. Now, I'm recording this on, It's Monday, November 18th, and today, I believe it was, the official Star Wars Twitter account made mention to some species age slower than others or something along those lines. But I'm still not going to mention the big reveal. It's out there. But if you're listening to this and you haven't gotten Disney Plus yet, or you plan on getting it, you got to wait for a pay period or what have you. I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say it was at the end of the first episode, definitely had a hook. And that was with the appearance of a very young baby tridactyl type creature. Let's just put it that way. And that is something that made you wonder, well, what are the next episodes going to be? So, while we're at it, I guess we may as well not recap in a way, but kind of talk about my thoughts on the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, because they have now both dropped. So the first episode, I was very pleased with what we saw. I instantly had to Google within the first few moments, because the blue fish guy that was being brought in on bounty, I'm like, I know this voice, who is it? And it turns out it was Horatio Sands. I also had to Google, because I'm like, wait, where have I seen the Mandalorian ship before? And I think it's one of the same troop drop ships that we saw, like Yoda was flying in one in, was it Attack of the Clones? Is that the second prequel movie? So the Mandalorian has one of those ships. And there's a lot of fan service in these first 2 episodes, okay? And that's great, because honestly speaking, to a certain degree, you want some of that, because you are coming to a Star Wars product and you want to be reassured of certain Star Wars elements. That's not to say that can replace story completely. You do need to have a solid story. You need to get people engaged and have them drawn in. And with this particular story they're telling, I was, but it kind of did help that they had certain elements. You have a bounty hunter that has a portable carbonite freezing system. You've got elements that are definitely very Star Wars in nature. You definitely get everything that I think as a Star Wars fan you want out of it. And if by the way, in case you're watching the video, you may have noticed my outfit has changed. And that's because I did record the first part before I had to go to New York. Now I'm back from New York. And in an oops, we kind of missed it moment as well. Everything that I had set up to talk about on this, because I was going to focus very heavily on episode 2 of The Mandalorian, especially after, the big reveal that kind of happens at the end of the first episode. It's like, well, where is this going to go next? How far is the story going to continue on? And as we saw, it was just right into it. Now, one of the things I really loved about the second episode of The Mandalorian was the entire segment with the Jawa sand cruiser, because not only does it have a lot of good action and a lot of good nods to some Lucas works in the past, it also, for me, had a really big feel of the Super Nintendo Super Star Wars game. The moment I started watching that episode and seeing that transpire, the moment we saw the Mandalorian climbing up the side of it, I'm like, this feels a lot like that Star Wars game. And I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if that worked into part of the narrative as well. But when it comes right down to it, the one thing I thought would be really cool would be to kind of go over all the things that are kind of coming up, because with the regular advertisement and logo, we see the Mandalorian, and he's got kind of this series beginning Mandalorian armor that's just regular and painted. But in some of the preview materials that you see out there, he's actually got a full set of shiny Beskar steel armor. And I'm like, well, how long in the series are we going to go to this? Because the whole thing that he's being able to retrieve is he's supposed to return for all this Beskar steel, which is obviously how he gets the armor. But I'm like, oh, well, how are they going to drag that out? And honestly, the truth is, in the very second episode, they didn't. I mean, like, I even pulled a video clip, man, in order to kind of look at how you saw him in action in all that new armor. But I got to tell you guys, they took care of that right away with the third episode, which is already dropped. So definitely we see now that the first 3 episodes of this story are really kind of the building of our hero, because he ends up getting the armor and then has a moment of consciousness or internal crisis, and he acts on that, which now propels us into the rest of the story, where you've got what I'm assuming is the Mandalorian on the run and being sought after by every bounty hunter in order to try and get the child or the package, or whatever you gonna want to call what I wasn't referring to before when I referred to them as tridactyls, but some little baby that is obviously of Yoda's species. There, I finally said it. So, I gotta say, for the longest time, I was curious why they were on this weekly model, but now I understand it, because we all, as long as the series is going, will be talking about it, which means every week they get a social media advertising boost, not only for the show, but for the service. And that's the hook right there. That's the reason why they aren't giving us all the episodes all at once, which is good anyway, because I think binge watching in some ways is good, and in other ways it's detrimental to the experience. So, personally loving The Mandalorian. And that's all I got to say about Disney Plus, because really that's all I've gone to it for. I've kind of been working my way through the available Star Wars movies on there, starting with the original Star Wars, just because they're there. And, how could I not look at the infamous McClunky that was added to the Greedo scene? But I haven't really explored very much else of Disney Plus other than The Mandalorian, which I'm sure they're banking on. And I'm glad to know that this was already renewed before even the first season aired. So, good for us there. Other news too, and this is one of the other things I wanted to talk about, which I'll just include in this now that it's a week later, and I'm trying to pad it up a little bit anyway. One of the things that I was shocked about was that Amazon actually put out a catalog, and I don't think I talked about this before, but it was just kind of shocking to me that this non-brick and mortar store is trying to recapture some of the what I have are fond childhood memories of the Toys R Us toy guide, where you could go through and you can mark like a wish book, the wish list, the big Christmas catalog of toys, and you'd be able to go and look at everything and mark off what you wanted and that kind of thing. And it turns out Amazon sent one out as well. I was going to hold on to it so I could show it here, but it's already gone the recycle bin, because it arrived weeks ago. But I was shocked that they were doing it. They included stickers so you can mark the things you liked. And it's like, wow, that's really old school for something new school. Are you something old school for something new school? Which I, again, wasn't expecting, but at least it amused me. Anyway, guys, my outfit has changed because this is Thanksgiving now, and I just wanted to kind of put a button on this and get it out there, because it's the longest time that's probably ever been taken to produce a microcast. What the hell, Will? But thank you for joining me. I don't know what your Thanksgiving is like, but this year I upheld my tradition of waking up and running a 5K, and now I'm just basically waiting out the day until the Thanksgiving feast comes, doing some of that a bit of intermittent fasting. But believe me, I've had my coffee because I need it, because I don't know why I thought it would be a great idea to get up and run early in the morning, but I did it. And we have what they have referred to as a bomb cyclone hit the West Coast, kind of more in the California-Oregon border area. They're getting the full brunt of it. On this side, we just got rain. I don't know what lane is. We got rain, and we got some really, really cold temperatures. So this morning when I was out running, it was like 40 degrees, which I'm unaccustomed to in California, and others I know feel that it is probably wimp weather, which I would agree, because there are far more adverse and colder parts of the continental U.S. right now, and I'm glad I'm not regularly in one of them. I do enjoy the California lifestyle. I have no idea what that means. Sorry. Anyway, until next time, guys, thank you for dropping in on this microcast. Hopefully, I'll crank out a few more. Tomorrow, we are making our own Thanksgiving feast, because today I'm going to my sister-in-law's house. So that'll be on the agenda for tomorrow. Don't know about Saturday and Sunday, but I do know that I need to clean my office. So that'll be hopefully one of the objectives over the next couple days. Not that anyone asked, but I thought I'd share. Anyway, guys, hopefully we can check in again tomorrow, and we can talk about everything Black Friday that transpired. what was the viral, terrifying video of crowds entering into the fray, and what are the amazing deals that I did not take advantage of. I have a new desired kitchen gadget, but I've already got one, and a reskin is just not a justifiable reason for why you do that. At least not in my book. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Until next time, my name is Will. It's just me. And you've been listening to another edition of NetHeads. And we'll be back soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
No stinger. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.